The January 14th, 2016 Longview City Council meeting is now called to order. Tonight, our prayer and pledge will be led by the Reverend Richard Tennyson, pastor of Mount Pleasant Christian Methodist Episcopal Church in Longview. Please rise.
May we bow. Most gracious God, we come now thanking you, Lord, for all the things you've done for us. Thank you for the times you were with us when nobody else would be. We ask now that you'll come into this room. Lord, we ask you to take the lead. We ask, God, that you'll allow whatever going on in this room, that it will be for the good of the city, for the county, and for all of us. We just ask it in the mighty name of Jesus. Amen, and thank God. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Reverend Tennyson. Tonight, our employee recognition is the 2015 graduates of Supervisors Network. Supervisors Network was a course created by the city's Human Resource Department in 2000 as a way to encourage supervisors to expand their skills and knowledge in the area of management. The City of Longview has a history of providing career advancement to many employees throughout the organization. This course enhances skills, allows the participants to learn from each other, and provides supervisors with additional tools to help them become more effective in their jobs and better prepared for career advancement opportunities. The Supervisors Network course takes 1 year to complete. Like a college class, participants are required to complete assigned readings, take part in discussions, answer supervisory scenario questions, prepare homework, and deliver a presentation. A new class started just yesterday, but the most recent graduates are here tonight. We want to recognize the Supervisors Network class of 2015. Please come forward as I call your name. Keith Bibb, Parks and Recreation. Robin Edwards, Human Resources. Jennifer Eldridge, Library. Walter Gott, Streets and Drainage. Philip Hale, Streets and Drainage. Frank Howell, Wastewater Treatment Plant. Heidi Nance, Police Department. Andy Parker, Fire Department. Damian Reese, Water Collection Distribution. Randy Ross, Public Safety Communications. Angela Walker, Finance. Vance Wiley, Development Services. And Andy Mack, Mayor. No, I'm kidding. I couldn't do that anymore. I'm so far past school. But I want to first take the time to first say thank you for furthering your education. But you know, by furthering your education, what you do, you make Longview a better city. And you're a better employee, you're a better person, you're a better service representative to our citizens. And we appreciate the time that you've spent. And I know, as an adult, it's difficult to go back to school. And so I recognize the sacrifices, and we appreciate it, and we thank you from the bottom of our hearts for going out and going that extra mile and making you better for us. Thank you all very much. I want a picture with all these smart people.
Can I get some of you to move down this side?
Why do I always stand by the tall people?
Okay, one more.
That's better. Right there, right there. No.
Thank you all very much. Before we keep going, first let me say, wow, we've missed you all. It's been a month since we've had a meeting, and we really appreciate the attendance and all the participation, so it's good to be back. Okay, proclamations. We have a presentation for the National Poverty in America Awareness Month with Partners in Prevention. Holly Fuller, Linda McAllister, representatives from Newgate, Longview Community Ministries, and United Way, please come forward. And ask the Longview Bridges out of, and the Longview Bridges out of poverty members too, please. Kinda got me there. Oh, there's some out there that need to come in? Come in there, it's fine. Come on. Okay, Poverty and Awareness in America Awareness Month, January 2016. Whereas Partners in Prevention have requested the mayor by proclamation recognize January 2016 as Poverty in America Awareness Month in the city of Longview. And whereas in 2015, Longview Community Ministries provided approximately 29,000 bags of groceries. Newgate Mission provided more than 64,000 meals. Infilano Gray County received 1,800 calls, and East Texas Food Bank provided 1.2 million meals in Gray County. And these agencies and others are striving to eliminate poverty and are participating in Partners in Prevention's Longview's Bridge Out of Poverty initiative to help individuals reach self-sufficiency. Now, therefore, I, Andy Mack, by authority vested in me as Mayor City of Longview, do proclaim January 16, 2016 as Poverty in America Awareness Month in Longview. Wow. Where do you start? Okay. We know poverty exists. We understand it. We want to close our eyes to it. And thank you all for not closing your eyes to it. Thank you for being there for those that need it the most. Thank you for your sacrifice, your service, and all. Did y'all catch those numbers? Those are some impressive numbers, and I'm proud to be here with you all. And you all are representing Longview, East Texas, Gray County. Thank you for all that you do for those that need help the most. Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Sorry, he's fine.
Thank you all so much. Our next presentation is a proclamation for National Mentoring Month with Partners in Prevention. This will be presented to Lyndall McAllister and Partners in Prevention and mentoring staff. We'd like to ask all the members and mentors of the council to please come forward. I know there's a bunch of y'all, but we want you to come forward. Please, y'all come forward if you're a mentor. Please come forward. Hey, Key, y'all come on. Come on up here. Y'all come on. Come on up. Come on, y'all come on up.
Joel.
Okay, I'm coming down here. Okay, this is phenomenal. Sorry, my back's to y'all. Sorry about that. Okay, I'm going to read a proclamation on National Mentoring Month for January 2016. Whereas Partners in Prevention have requested that the mayor, by proclamation, read January 2016 as National Mentoring Month in the city of Longview. Whereas Partners in Prevention has 156 mentors serving as positive role models to young people in the Forever Friends and the Co-Pilots mentoring program by helping them navigate the path to adulthood with success and playing a powerful role in preventing substance abuse, incarceration, and youth violence, as well as boosting academic achievement and workforce readiness. Now therefore, I, Andy Mack, by the authority vested in me, City Mayor of Longview, Texas, do by proclaim January 2016 as National Mentoring Month in Longview. Okay, who wants this? Take this. Okay, because you know what, that piece of paper means nothing. What means everything is this. You all, your time, your effort, what you do for the youth and the citizens of Longview in this realm is immeasurable. There are no words. I could read proclamations all day long. This is a standardized form. And once again, I've said it a million times, that paper means nothing. What you do means everything. And we are so grateful to each and every one of you all for the time that you spend in helping someone else. And so I appreciate it. The city of Longview appreciates it. And I guarantee you, everyone that you have touched, every life that you have touched appreciates it, whether you know it or not. Thank you all so much. Please stay here. One picture real quick. And while y'all are filing out, I'm just going to say something else. We can have all the poor sales tax revenues we want every single month. As long as we have volunteers like this helping our community, we will do well. And I thank you all so much for your service. Whoa. Okay. Thank you all once again. You don't have to leave. You can still stay, you know. We're still here. Okay, we're to citizen comment. Give you just a second or two. Okay, citizen comment. I have a number of speaker cards, so we're going to just go through these one at a time. Our first speaker card will be James Wilcox and Chris Mack. Y'all better get in here. Your time is running. You get no special treatment here.
We couldn't hear y'all out there. Sorry. Well, it's a pleasure to approach y'all, and we're going to be brief because y'all have got a big crowd tonight, and usually with our meetings, a big crowd means a long night, so we're going to be brief. Okay, what we're doing is we came to invite y'all, the 8 of y'all, and then guests if you'd like. Longview ISD Culinary Arts Department is opening up a cafe that will serve the public maybe 1-2 nights a month. Okay, and it's an idea that they've been working on. The students are going to run this thing. Dr. Wilcox is going to tell you a little bit more about the detail, but we came tonight to invite y'all to the kickoff dinner, which is February the 12th. It's a Friday night. The facility can handle 30 people, and so the 8 of y'all have got the first invitations, your spouses, significant others, whoever you'd like to bring in. If you would like to bring some guests, we'll give y'all the opportunity to fill all 30 spots. But if you can't, or whatever, then we'd like to know because we want to get it filled, and I'm sure we'll be able to. So if y'all would talk, I think it's going to start at 6 o'clock. It'll be a very, very nice dinner. Very proud of our new director of that program, and the students are real excited. Possibly before the event, maybe some of the students may come and give y'all a little preview of what they're going to serve or what have you. But y'all have got an invitation. If you just could let us know, Brian Casper at the high school is the director of the program. So if the mayor, if you'll get your people to call our people and let us know how many, okay, we'll be in good shape.
We never turn down food.
All right. Oh, and we obviously we can't charge the public, but The excess money is going to be used for, he'll tell you about that, so donations be accepted, okay? But he'll tell you more about it.
Thanks. February 1 cutoff date. We won't open it up to anyone until we'll give you the February 1st to make your plans and let our CATE director know, Brian Casper. If he's not in, he has a secretary, so just leave that information with her. We're looking forward to it. We try to do things in our CATE program to have students work ready. And these students, they need the experience with the public instead of just with their classmates and teachers and things like that, where when they leave LISD, they're ready to go directly into the workforce, which is what we all want. We want an educated citizenry that, among other things, pay taxes. And that helps all of us function, and it's a lot better to turn out citizens ready to go to work than someone that we have to deal with in other ways that have a more negative impact on us all. And as Dr. Mack said, the direct food costs will be covered, and 100% of everything else does not go to the district. It will go to a scholarship fund for the students involved in our CATE program in culinary arts. And we have a horticulture program that a lot of folks don't know about. They'll be doing the table settings and things like that. And so students that are involved in the program, 100% of money after food costs will go directly for scholarships for these students, for them to go on and finish wherever they might want to get training, anywhere they want to go. So we look forward to this. We have a lot of great things going on. We need to do a better job sharing it with the public, and we welcome you, and just let us know. Thank you very much.
We look forward to it. Thank you, Dr.
Thank you.
Wilcox. Thanks, Dr. Chris.
Okay, bring a checkbook.
Always. Fantastic. Okay, Michael Shirley.
Thank you, Mayor Mack, members of council, Mr. Willard. I'd like to introduce y'all to Mark Savasta, our new building official. And just wanted to recognize him. He's been on the job a couple of weeks now. We're very glad to have him on board. I just wanted to invite council and members of our community to a reception that we're going to have for him on Friday the 22nd at 410 South High Street. And that's going to be from 2:30 to 4:30. So we just welcome anybody to come down, visit our facility, and also just meet Mr. Savasta. And he's going to be a great asset to our organization, and we're thankful to have him here, and just wanted to welcome him. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Nice to have you, sir.
Thank you.
Welcome aboard. Vic Verma.
Thank you, Mayor Dean, members of council.
Mayor Mack.
I think you're done now.
Now you're down to 1
Should I
minute.
just go back? Okay. Mayor Mack, members of council, sorry for
I'll
the-
take it
for
as
the
a
oversight.
compliment.
This weekend is a weekend that's very important in our community, state, and country, and that is MLK weekend, more important, which celebrates the life and work of Dr. Martin Luther King on his birthday. And we've had a very good celebration every year that goes from Friday to Monday, and we're continuing that this year. But one thing that a lot of us in the community have noted over time as the event has continued is there's been one thing that's been significantly lacking in the event, in the weekend, and that is a service event or service events. Because a lot of us are like, when growing up, learning an example of Dr. King and the sacrifices and the work that he did, he was all about service. In fact, he gave his life, literally gave his life in service. So that has been something that there are folks that folks are looking to change. Last year, we piggybacked as the MLK committee with a Red Cross, which was doing a smoke detector check on the Sunday of the weekend. That already was happening, and they're doing that again this year. But I think as the committee and other organizations, we wanted to go further, and we wanted to have a more hands-on effort. So this year, the Science Initiative, Safe and Inviting Green Neighborhoods, is partnering with First Presbyterian Church and St. Andrew Presbyterian Church to have a canned food drive for all events as part of MLK weekend, beginning tomorrow night with a jazz concert, going all the way through the MLK service at Mount Olive on Monday. I imagine that I imagine at some point in this meeting that will be up on the screen, all the events. So at each of those events, we will be accepting canned food. We encourage churches, albeit on short notice, to also collect food as well. And we, as the three organizations, will collect all of the food and take it to Community Outreach Mission, which will be the charity that is being benefited. We're starting out small this year. You know, we're getting our feet wet, so to speak. We want to make this event a really large event going forward, and we also, more importantly, do not want it to be the only service event on MLK weekend and MLK Day on the Monday. They do it. Monday is MLK National Day of Service. We want to make service not just part of the event, but the central part of the event. So my number is 903-522-1304, and my email is v2aggie2@gmail.com if you want us to come pick up cans at your church this Sunday or anytime during the weekend. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I have Mark Priestner. Mark, are you wanting to speak during the zoning, or do you want to speak during citizen comment? Were you here for the zoning item or for citizen comment? For zoning item. Very good. I'll put it aside. Thank you, sir. Jacoby Ross.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
It's an honor to be here today, and I think about the murders in Longview, Texas is really crazy because it's really mainly about black on black crime. It's mainly black on black crime. I think it's just stupid about it. The kids that are mainly getting killed in ages are from 16 to 28. Some are, they don't just want to get money, but for illegally. But I think it's and most of them just getting killed. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. Tammy Porter.
Good evening, Mayor Mack, City Council. I am Tammy Porter, and I'm born and raised in Longview, Texas, and I am the founder for Be Encouraged Ministries. But Mayor Mack, I would just want to start with something you said at one of my events, is that Longview don't have sides. They don't have south side, they don't have north side, east side, or west side. We're Longview. And right now, the south side of Longview is not doing good at all. It hasn't been doing good for a while, but right now, citizens are upset. They're scared for their lives. They fear for their lives. They fear for their homes. We've had 15 murders. How many been solved? 2. We've had 3 or 4 fires just in the last 3 or 4 days. And right now, it's just like, okay, it's time to do something. It's been time to do something, but right now it's time to do something collectively. Not this organization, that organization, these 2 people. Everybody needs to come together. I don't know if y'all have 3 or 4 sirens going off at night in your neighborhood, but we have it in ours, and it's not good. It's not good at all. It's not good for the children. It's not good for the elderly people that live there. It's not good at all, and it doesn't look good for Longview. My oldest son is 20. He's just graduated from Kilgore College in December, and he's on his way going somewhere else. But he had friends over there that didn't want to come to Longview to come shop, to come eat. They always wanted to go to Tyler. He the only one who had a car, and he was like, "No, I'm going home. No, we don't want to come over there. It's not safe." We're scared we're fearing for our lives. We're scared we're gonna get shot or somebody gonna start something with us. Something has to be done. I don't know what it is, whatever we can do to help you all or help the LPD, it's time for something to happen, like quick, fast, and in a hurry. These children are running around here scared, crazy, out of their minds. That's just doing whatever, taking lives and taking people's property like it's theirs. And it's not fair and it's not right. I love Longview. I've been here all my life. I don't want to see it go down like that. Chicago has had, in the first 10 days of the new year, had 100 shootings. Would that be Longview one day? I mean, think about that.
Thank you, ma'am. Victoria Chadwick.
Good evening, City Council of Longview. Today I'm speaking on violence that's been going on in Longview. I think as African Americans, we should come together and stop discriminating against our own race. It's too many shootings and drive-bys going on in this small town. Issues in our city derive from stemming gang violence, robberies, poverty, low income, environments, and racial tensions. For one big example, my brother, he lives in an environment with gangs, marijuana, and every other violence you can think of. I don't want my brother on KLTV or receiving a phone call saying my brother got shot or was caught in a robbery and got killed. If we want things to change in this community, then we have to start stepping up, speaking up, and be an example. A start has to come someday. When is it going to start happening? How many more shootings or killings do we need for people to realize what really needs to happen?
Thank you. Joe Nathan Davis.
I'm a little nervous.
Take your time.
Good evening. It's such an honor to be here, standing here before you, and to tell you how I feel about today's outbreak in Longview. I believe that we, the people of our city, could do better. The image of our city to other people is a rundown place full of murder scenes, billboards, and wannabes. But we're doing so poorly that the image is becoming true. We're not doing anything to prove the other people wrong. Sad to say, but most of these murders and crimes are due to us young men 28 and under. At least 28 to 17 young black men should have jobs making legal money instead of illegal money. The gangs, trap houses, and black-on-black crime must cease. Most of the deaths in Longview are due to crimes like these. Instead of trying to figure out how to get people in jail, we should figure out how to take young men and women off the streets and help them get jobs so they can stay out of trouble. We need to come together and lift up our city we love so much. I'm tired of watching the news every other night. Almost every time I watch the news, somebody always gets murdered, robbed. Let's stop discriminating against each other. Let's love instead of hate. Let's lift up instead of putting down. Let us be the best we can be. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Jamie Jones.
Good evening.
Evening.
The thing I think, in my own point of view about Longview's situation, is that the gangs and what they are doing in the streets. Because on the news, I hear someone get robbed or someone get killed, and I'm getting worried, and my family is getting worried. I can't even go outside and feel safe anymore. So we, the people in Longview, Texas, we need to unite and stop the discriminative, violent situation in Longview, and let the kids and the families of Longview, Texas feel safe again. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Donna Sharp.
Good evening. Thank you, Mayor Mack, Mr. Willard, City Council. I appreciate the opportunity to be here with you this evening and to speak to you and with you about the needs in our community and the payday lending ordinance. As director of Greater Longview United Way, we impact lives every day through our community and through the programs that we fund in our community. So the numbers that you read earlier are staggering, but unfortunately they're very familiar numbers to me. Many of those people and many of the numbers that you did not read this evening come through the offices of the agencies that are affiliated with United Way. The services that we see in our community, the needs and requests continue to increase ever so much. And these are folks that are working, they're retired, they're disabled, they're unemployed, they're elderly. So it goes all across the spectrum. The average American has very little in reserve when an unexpected expense arises. Longview residents are no different. We would love to say we have that nest egg and we have that reserve, but catastrophic illness, transmission in a car, things happen and life happens, and we need money to repair those things, to go to work and to continue in our lifestyle. It is true that no person should live in such financial straits that they would have to rely on a payday loan, but that's reality, and the reality is there. Many believe that there is a need for a quick cash situation, but I firmly believe that the quick cash institutions must be regulated. We see extreme interest rates. A person taking out a $500 loan may pay $650 back in interest. You're seeing interest rates between 40 and 50% on returning these loans. Most of the loans are taken out as a short-term fix to an immediate need. However, oftentimes they default on the loan. The default rate is, I believe, about 55 to 60% on those loans. If it's a cash title loan and the default occurs, your car's gone. And how do you get to work? How do you continue to make that money? Many times the quick fix loan results in another loan to pay the loan. And then you've got the vicious cycle of a loan to pay a loan to pay a loan. I do see that there is a need for a cash solution when a person has that need, but they must be regulated and the cycle must discontinue. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Christy Bogle Sherman.
Good evening. Thank you for your time. So I'm not going to rehash what Donna just said, but she's exactly right. And I read the article in the Longview News Journal, and then I read some of the comments, which is always fun. And, you know, there are a couple of things that I saw in the comments section, like a couple of misconceptions about what I think this ordinance is going to do that I think, you know, we may want to address. And, you know, one of those being that this ordinance is big government or some type of overreach. But this ordinance simply puts payday lenders under the same type of regulation that banks and other financial institutions are already under. And so really it's closing a loophole. And I think that everyone here can agree that there's no reason why payday lenders should be enjoying some kind of advantage that other financial institutions do not. You know, secondly, I also think there's this idea that Texas at a state level should handle this issue. And I don't disagree with that, but you know, they haven't. And there's a reason why many other cities in the state have already adopted similar ordinances. And you know, when you've got members from both parties in the Texas legislature who make a living from this kind of business, I think you might be waiting a while to get anything done at that level. And you know, thirdly, like what we've heard here tonight from these students and mothers and concerned citizens about the crime in this city, you know, this crime and poverty and education, it's all related. And so it's not a secret or a coincidence that you're going to find these types of places in blighted neighborhoods. So let's clean it up. Let's do better. And so while I do agree that, of course, we need to have these kinds of solutions available to people because in reality, like a lot of people live, you know, in a situation where they're going to need quick cash sometimes. So no one's asking for that to be shut down, but I really just urge people to look at this ordinance and see it for what it is. We're just closing a loophole, and we're going to make our neighborhoods better and hopefully work towards our goal of making them safer and more prosperous. So I urge you all to vote yes whenever that happens, whenever that comes up. So thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. I have no more speaker cards. Is there anyone that would like to speak and has not filled out a card? Very well.
I would like to say something. I didn't.
Hold on. If you would, please come to the podium and introduce yourself, please, and we'll fill out a card later, okay? Thank you, sir.
My name is David Lawrence. I didn't plan on saying anything today. Wanted to come and listen and see what the whole payday ordinance was about. The fact of the matter is, people do need these type of loans to be able to survive. The numbers that these two people have just told you are completely false. I do run a payday loan company here in Longview. Every number that she told you guys are completely false. We are governed by the Office of Consumer Credit Commissioner. They do have strict regulations, and even more regulations every time we turn around and look. The fees, yes, they are a little high, but if you put the regulations in that you say you wanted to put in the the papers we got in our mail out the other day, basically what that's going to do is put us out of business. And when that happens, these people are still going to need these loans. And there are a number of online loans that these people are still going to turn to get out of the same financial binds that they're in today. That need is not going to go away. So I'm going to send you guys an email of some online lenders and then send you some of my prices. And I would love to see what you guys see about that. Double, sometimes triple the fees. And when that happens, there's going to be that more people that can't afford those loans, that many more people that can't afford to get out of the bind. Talking about losing their transportation, that is our last resort to repo a vehicle. We work with people, sometimes cut fees in half, reduce interest rates, just to try to keep these people on a payable schedule. We do not want these people's vehicle at all. We have to have that as collateral so the people will pay us back. It is what it is. The default rate is nowhere near 50 to 60% like she says. I can show you true numbers that it's closer to about 15%, which is high still. But in order for us to have a 15% default rate, we do have to charge a little extra for our product. And I do realize in a perfect world, if we had no default rate, we could lower that and would, because we'd have more consumers. So before you guys jump to conclusions and decide, oh my gosh, the payday loan industry is here to ruin our fine town, please let at least me and several others of the community send you our numbers and then look around and see what that would actually do. We'd have to close down our business. A lot of our people get paid fairly well. I'm talking about the girls in the offices. Most of the people don't have a high school diploma or college diplomas. Who's going to employ those people at the rate that we employ them? There's going to be that many more people on unemployment because they're not going to be able to afford to live. You're going to put probably some people on the street because they're going to have to turn to some source of lower income, possibly cut in half. I think the average employee that works for me makes $13 to $15 an hour. So I would stress, please listen to both sides of the story before you jump to any conclusions. I will be emailing you all, giving you true numbers, I promise. And these aren't numbers that I've made up. These are numbers that you can pull yourself on the website of the Office OCCC. Sorry, I'm stuttering a little bit, but I didn't plan on making a speech. I am a little upset about the ordinance and people that are coming in trying to basically put us out of business and lie about us in public. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. Please fill out a card so we'll have you on record, sir. Thank you very much. Okay, anyone else? Okay.
I would like to say something, and I'm not going to necessarily repeat what Dave
First,
just...
please introduce yourself, please.
I'm sorry. My name is Lenora. I reside here in Longview for the last 5 years.
Thank you.
I actually been in the business for about 20 years. And the story I want to tell today is about the service that is needed. I use the service. I was a single parent, got a divorce, had a young man, and I'm just listening to all the crime and what's going on in Longview. And I too was concerned with my son being part and getting out in the street doing drugs. And he had the love of, or the passions to play basketball. Great. He enrolled, he played. Come playing basketball, there's fees, there's trips. Him coming home at 6 o'clock, Mom, I need $300. I need $200 within 24 hours. Well, I don't get paid until the following week. And I was able to use a service that helped me and to help my son, who went on to get a scholarship and who's now in the service. So we're not saying, I agree with David, we're not saying don't vote. We're saying look at both sides. Look at both sides. The service is needed. You're not trying to take the service away, but it's needed. But it will put some people out of jobs. We could not survive in that way. And a lot of people that come in there, they know what they're doing. We're not making them come in there. These people, we get to know them. They come get the loan. They pay off when they're ready to pay off. So we need the service. I think the people should have a choice to make their own choice. What I did not hear today was I actually witnessed a bank statement where a bank charged $900 with the return fees. $900. Now, would you rather be charged that, or would you rather walk in and get you $100 to hold you to your next payday, rather than being charged that much money? And that is what's happening. I see it front hand. I'm not an owner. I'm waiting on the clients. I see the clients. I know what they're going through. I see the $300 electric bill in a bad neighborhood. Why are we having $300 electric bill at a home? That's a lot of money. What do you supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? That's when I come in. And one of the things that we do at the company we work for, we educate our customers. I would not give anyone any money that I don't think they can pay for. I have turned down many customers who did not qualify. This was not the loan for them. They needed some other options that I couldn't provide for them. But Ms. Jones wasn't expecting her bill to be that much. As a matter of fact, I would not expect my bill to be $300. So again, we just saying, can you all delay your decision and look at both sides? You may have a couple of bad sides, but you're gonna have more good sides. And I've had people who told me, I go by Rose. Rose, you was the reason why I didn't lose my house. Because that bank, and that bank would not give me nothing. And I've been a customer with them for 5 years because of a score. So by you being here, you was able to help me. And we want to continue to help our customers and people in Longview, and for the money to stay here and for us to grow. In my 5 years, I've seen a lot go on in Longview. And I never thought I would want to be in Longview. Maybe Tyler, but not Longview. But I've enjoyed being here in Longview. And I think it's nice that we have this opportunity to come to speak to each one of you all about what's going on. I have employees behind me who have kids that they have to support. They have to support. Thank you, and again, I wish you all just delay it. Let's look at it more. Let's come up with an alternative. Let's work together. Like the lady said earlier about the crime. Let's work together. Let's come up with a solution that's gonna help both. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. This middle gentleman. Did you want to speak, sir?
Yes, sir, please.
Come on.
My name's Jay Pruitt. I'm as well in the payday industry. And thank you, Lenore. Where'd she go? She is something. She's been around Longview for a long time. I'm also around Longview as well. And I'm like David, I didn't plan on really talking. I did bring some stuff that I want to give you, Mr. Mayor, excuse me. But on the payday loan industry side, I just want to say a couple of things. Again, like Ms. Rose said, we know that the industry, that y'all aren't trying to shut the industry out, shut it down, and everybody knows that it's a truly needed product. Where I see the issues going forward is it is going to be hard for a lot of, for the payday lenders that are from the area to stay in business. I know I'm here, David is, and there's another Jeremy in the corner. He's from around here as well, and it's really going to hurt us. But not to mention the 20% cap. That is a number that is really tough, because people can't just walk in. They have 2 flat tires, or and come borrow money from you when they need it. I do have a couple of statistics that 60% of our clientele are women, and for me that means that they may be single mothers that have to go get medicine, or have 2 flat tires, or have a flat tire and need some quick money. You can't go to a bank anymore. If you walk into a bank, you have to have a credit score of 650 or better, no marks on your record. Yada, yada, yada. I think everybody realizes you can't walk into a bank anymore and get under $2,000. That's kind of where we come into play. But the ordinance is going to hinder that, where people can't come in and get what they need, to make ends meet. As a lender myself, we do our best. We don't want people to get into this trap that y'all hear about on the news. That's insane. That doesn't help us at all. We want people to borrow the money, pay it back, and create a relationship where when they do need some help, they come and see us. I don't want to build a relationship with somebody for one time, where they borrow money one time, because this is life. 70% of this world borrows money, or 70% of this nation borrows money from somebody. And the hindrance of the 20%, that's tough for me, and I think that's what's really going to shut out most of the lenders in town, is when you can only, somebody who's used to borrowing $500 from you now can only borrow $200. The customer, what they're going to do? They're going to go to another lender, and now they're going to have 2 payday loans or 3 payday loans out, because they're going to have to borrow just to make ends meet. And then the confusion, and then you're late, and then it just is going to snowball. Somebody spoke a second ago about our industry not having regulations, and I obviously know they haven't done a whole lot of research. They're going based upon what the other cities in the state have done. Those other cities, most of them are large cities with millions of people, lots of crime, lots of things. This is Longview. Yes, there's 100,000 people here. It's big enough for, it's big, but it's not, that large. What I'm getting to is we had 144 new regulations put on us in December, and there are more to come. There's another 150 that's coming through the OCCC in the next couple of months. So somebody that says we don't have regulations is just not doing their homework. I'm like the other people that spoke for the industry. I would just like for the research to be done on the other side. The only thing that people hear anymore is bad, 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 and there is a lot of good stuff that goes on in the industry. Just last, I have just some statements from customers, and I've got a folder for each of y'all. I'll just set it up here. Y'all can read it if you like. If you don't.
Thank you, sir.
Thank y'all for your time.
Mm-hmm. Appreciate you very much.
Yes.
Anyone else? Yes, ma'am. Lady in the front. Ma'am, please. Yes.
Good evening. My name is Arna Wells, and I want to kind of digress from the situation you were talking about, the loans, and talk about the violence that we're seeing in South Longview. I don't see that every day. I'm not in that area, but it breaks my heart to see what's going on. And I don't know if we need some type of mentorship going on, if there's some funds in Longview that could be allocated, but the time to do something is now. Not tomorrow, not next week, but now. These children that are 3, 4, and 5 seeing this behavior day in and day out grow up and repeat it. They need to see that there's something else to do. They need to see, well, we're going on a field trip to the park. We're going to the museum. We're going to work on our penmanship. We're going to work on homework. If it's nothing but the Boys and Girls Club extending themselves 2 extra hours just to work on homework, I know that there's something that can be done, and it can start with the children. I don't know if we need male volunteers. Longview High School is big. Violence and gang activity has gotten big. Maybe in addition to policemen, they need to see male volunteers walking the campus halls. You know, I don't know. My passion is there. My desire is there to improve it, but my knowledge of how to do it is not there. But I really, really want to save these kids. I don't want another generation to come up and repeat this. And at the same token, I do support our cops. On my page, I do say, put a blue line on your windshield. Let the cops know we support them, because they are working in a hostile territory, and they do put their lives on us on a daily basis. And some crimes I know aren't solved because people don't speak out for fear of retaliation. And with social media, I think some of that may start to help with solving the crimes. But I don't know where to start, but I do want to start, and I do want to have a future conversation about this. Because these children got up here, and they're too young to be talking about that. My son, who's 8 years old, played football this summer, and the kids were already talking about TYB and different gangs. And I'm like, what? And it's starting early. They're mimicking what they see, and they're growing up into it. We need to save our babies, and then those that want to be changed, the older ones, will give you a hand up. We'll give you a mentor. We'll help you get a trade. But if you choose to work outside the law, then of course, we'll handle you accordingly. And that's all I have to say about that.
Thank you so much. Nice to see you, man. We have one more that wants to speak? Okay.
Thank everybody for letting me come up. My name is Colin McElroy. I am an owner of a Payday Industry loan company store, but not only that, I am a major shareholder of Shelby Savings Bank, which is a bank that has 5 locations. I also am a shareholder of a manufacturing plant. I'm also a shareholder in a distribution company in which we make bank loans, we make rent-to-own loans, we finance buildings. The reason I got into payday loan in the first place is because personally I wanted to be able to diversify and help everybody in the community. Now, somebody can make an owner like me out to be a bad person, but that is simply not the case. I have lived my whole life to respect and help everybody I can. And I do understand that there are situations where people just can't afford to continue the loan, okay? But what I would like to express is there's a certain amount of people in the world who could use this loan and feel like this loan is beneficial to them and it helps them feed their children, pay their note, pay the bank charge-off fees. No one makes anybody walk into this office and apply for a loan, okay? If the payday loan industry gets shut down in this town, I will still make a registered loan. I will still make a loan through the bank. I will still make a rent-to-own loan or a loan on a building. I will do all the same. It does not hurt the owner of the payday loan company. It doesn't. It hurts the person that walks into the store and hasn't fed their child in 2 days. It hurts the person who is about to have an accrued bank loan fee. Now, is there a 15 or 20% loss? Well, yes. But you don't think about the fact that they came in and got a loan on a car that might have been $3,000, and then it has depreciated to $1,000, and you basically loan them more money than that car is, and they're going to let that car go. Or they're going to let whatever happen, because the simple fact is they're able to pull one over on you. It's not you pulling one over on them. It's, hey, I got a car that's worth $1,000. I owe $2,000 on it because I haven't changed the oil or the tires or maintenance the car in a long time, and I'm going to let the car go. Now, is that right for the company? No. But no one ever wants to talk about how those people get it too. It's not right. It's when somebody comes to me and they want to borrow money, I say, hey, you should come to the bank. Or, hey, you should come to do this, that, and another. And when they get denied, then you got to give them another option, and then another option, and another option. But the question is do you want to take a service away from 80% of the people that truly use it to save themselves and do it, because 20% of the people do not want to pay their loan if they can get it off? And to me, I don't think that it's fair to take something away from 80% of the people just because 20% of the people don't want to take care of their own business, oftentimes because it's to the benefit of them. And as I said, no matter what, I'm going to be fair to the community. I'm going to help anybody out that needs my help. I'm not going to say, you need to do this or you need to do that, to pull one over on anybody's eyes. And for somebody to sit there and to act like that's the type of owner I am, it's beyond me. Because if you truly knew who I was, you truly wouldn't feel that way. But I apologize. I thank you for letting me come up here and speak. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Okay. Mr. Supersinski.
Mayor, honorable members of the council, it's very interesting about this payday loan controversy. As you know, I'm an attorney, and one of the aspects that I've been practicing law continuously since 1970. And you folks are a legislative body. And as a legislative body for your community, which you're responsible for, policies need to be set for the benefit of the community, with regulations knowing that regulations are necessary so that the greater number will be adequately served. It's very interesting to me that on the payday lenders, and I'm not talking about the morality, one thing I would like to be interested in knowing is how many of those loans are actually paid off. They are in the business of obtaining interest. The only way to obtain interest is to keep the loan going. And then they say, well, okay, now we want to come in and we want to help people that can't help themselves. And the way we help the people that can't help themselves is we add interest on them. Now, I don't know how many people want to pay in excess of 20% interest. I get credit card applications all the time through the mail. First thing I look at is that interest rate. Because when you have to continuously start paying 20%, and I've been hearing 60%, these folks are in the business of making money. policy of what is best for the community. How is it best for the community? They said that a person who needs life support be hooked up to unending interest from a public policy standpoint. And how can anybody not live with 20% interest if that's the limit? I don't know what the percentage limit is. So let's look at the reality of this case. I'm not talking about morality. I'm talking about what they hook people up to. And when you see that, then you start thinking to yourself, I as a legislative body person, what is it that allows us to say what is benefit for the people? And I would say this, I wish I could hook up 1,000 people a month at 20%. That would be a wonderful interest. And so think about that. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Are we done? No. Okay. Yes, sir.
My name is Michael Flood, and I actually work for a finance company here in town. I am not a resident of Longview, but I have been doing business in this town since 2012. I am not a part of the payday lending, but as this attorney stepped up here and talked about the reality of hooking someone up to a lifeline at 20% interest, and that he would never put a credit card in his name at that high of interest rate, that is wonderful. I wish everybody that walked in our offices had the credit, had the ability, had been taught in high school, as I was taught in college how to handle finances, what your credit actually meant. I come from an older generation. I was as an oops child, as you want to put it. My dad's handshake at the bank would get him any amount of money he wanted to borrow. Today, if you don't have $650 or better, you can't borrow less than $3,000 from a financial institution. There are institutions out there that are regulated by the OCCC. We are capped at the interest rate that we're allowed to charge. We are audited or examined, as the state would say, once or twice every 1 to 2 years, depending on what is going on in our industry. And as the gentleman said earlier, there are tons of regulations coming out in regards to payday lenders. I'm not going to say that payday lenders are a good thing or a bad thing. That's not my place to say that. It's the people of Longview to decide on whether or not it is. But let me put this in your mind. Doctors charge what they want to charge because they want to make money. Attorneys charge what they charge because they want to make money. Car dealerships charge what they charge because they want to make money. Walmart charges what they charge because they want to make money. Kmart is going out of business. Why is Kmart going out of business? Because someone else cut the price of milk at another store and they can't compete. So if you want to stand up here and say to put someone on a lifeline of 20%, and I would love to do that, yes. But if we did our due diligence as a country and taught our kids the rights and the wrongs and how to handle money, how to handle finances, what was right and wrong about paying a bill back, not letting your electric bill go 2 months past due, not letting your cable bill go 2 months past due, only getting the necessities of life that you need to maintain a good life. And if you have an excess, then get that. And yes, everybody in this room has had a time, maybe not recently, hopefully if you have it, you don't have it anytime soon, but a car breaks down, air conditioner goes out, refrigerator quits, kids' shoes fall apart. I've got to take my kids to the doctor. And I don't know anybody that can go to the hospital that doesn't have insurance and pay $5,000 to have something done to a child or to themselves. So there is a need for this type of industry. It needs to be regulated. It needs to be watched. We are regulated under Chapter G of the OCCC,
We are also governed by the FCRA. We are also governed by the Texas Credit Code. If we violate the interest rate that the state puts on us, we have to refund that money back to the consumer. And they check that. And let me tell you, when they come in, they don't come in and go, hey, how you doing? It's good to see you. They don't like you. They're not there to be your friends. They come in to make sure that this consumer is being protected. And as a regional manager, I oversee 13 offices in the state of Texas. It's my responsibility that when I go into these towns, that my employees are doing what they're supposed to be doing and not making bad loan decisions. If they make a bad loan decision, we correct it, we fix it, and we make sure it doesn't happen again. But the state also comes in and makes sure on every year or every 2 years to make sure that we're following the strict guidelines that are put forward by the federal government and the Texas government. I'd be more than happy to answer any questions. I have talked to Mr. Jackson, the attorney, the city attorney, assistant city attorney here in town in regards to this. There are some things in this ordinance that concern me as for the industry that I'm in, as to whether or not we will be affected. There's another gentleman and another young lady here that I know of that are in the same industry, that fall in the same category as I do. We are not payday loan companies. We are alternative finance, is another word, secondary finance. We help people who are going through a divorce, coming out of a bankruptcy, who can't get $600, $700. Our max loan is $1,340. And every year the state in July goes and has a meeting, and they give us a $20 to $40 increase that we can increase the largest loan that we can make. So we are strictly governed and very closely watched when it comes to what we do. So I appreciate what the gentleman said about the 20% lifeline, but everybody is into making money. If you weren't into making money, you would be giving your services away for free. And I haven't seen an attorney that does that. And I haven't seen a doctor that does that. And I haven't seen a car dealership walk up and give a family without a car a free car just because he feels sorry for them. So thank you very much, and I appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. Okay, are we done now? That's it? Okay, very good. We will now move on to our public safety update. Chief Bishop.
Mayor Mack, council members, Mr. Willard, Happy New Year. I have just a few things to update you on that we've been working on since the last time that I provided an update for you. If you remember back in our December meeting, I gave a brief presentation on the open carry, and at that time we were planning 3 different seminars for the community. We were able to carry out those seminars, and between the 3 seminars we had over 350 attendees that attended those seminars and became educated on the new open carry law. Since the law went into effect January 1st, I have not been made aware of any issues pertaining to that, and things seem to be moving along pretty smoothly with that. Moving into December, we graduated 2 of our cadets from the Tyler Junior College Academy, and then we swore them in as new police officers. They're currently in field training right now, and with these 2 coming out of the academy, this leaves us with 6 vacancies, and we currently have several officers that are in the background process right now to fill those 6 vacancies in March with the academy at Kilgore College. December, we had an opportunity to participate in our 2nd year with Good Shepherd in providing some holiday cheer to the children that were in the hospital during that time period. We had several of our officers that dressed up like superheroes and rappelled off the side of the building and hung over the windows where the rooms were at of the children that were in there. And then had the opportunity for Santa Claus to go up and provide the children with some gifts that were going to be in the hospital at Christmas time. This was a fun event, and it was good to see the look on the children's face when they saw the officers dressed up as superheroes. Moving into January, we had some promotions that we made within the police department. We promoted Sergeant Kevin Freeman to the rank of lieutenant. Kevin has just been recently promoted, and he is assigned as lieutenant over our criminal investigations division. Kevin has a long history in criminal investigations, and I think he'll do us a fine job there. We also promoted Officer Jacob Zimmerman to the rank of sergeant, and he's going to be going through several weeks of training as a sergeant and get him caught up to speed before we give him a permanent assignment. With the new officers, unfortunately, I was notified that we will have an upcoming retirement at the end of this month. Lieutenant Lloyd Littlefield will be retiring from the police department after serving for 39 years. When I began my career, I worked under Lieutenant Littlefield on midnight shift, and I know that he's been a good, valuable employee for 39 years. I tried to talk him into staying and make it an even 40, but he says that he's ready to retire and has plans to spend time with his new granddaughter. This last week, I want to thank our Human Resources Department. They were able to work with the Texas Municipal League and bring in Dr. Kevin Gilmartin into town to provide some training for police officers on the emotional survival for law enforcement officers, to teach the officers on the stresses of the job that they may pick up and how to balance their work life with their off time and help reduce some of those stressors. This training was actually open to all cities that were TML cities, and we were able to have 150 officers from East Texas area attend that training. Dr. Gilmartin is highly coveted in this area, and to have TML pay for training like that is a good thing. And then last, I'd like to introduce you to Sheila Williams. In the police department, we have an internship program. Sheila is a senior at Sam Houston State University. She's going to be with us through January through April. We're going to be putting her in different places within the department, and she'll graduate in May with her bachelor's degree in criminal justice. And along with her as an intern, we gave her an application, and she's going to fill the application out and apply with the police department. So this program has been very good. We've actually hired 2 other officers that are currently working with us that have come through our intern program. So, thank you. Any questions?
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
A comment. Chief Steelman's not in town today. He's doing some emergency management training. But Chief, I want to just commend both you and Chief Steelman on 2 things. First of all, your commitment to the community with your toy drives, your superhero displays. You know, that just makes you all more real, and we appreciate all that you do. And also, I want to commend you for the videos that you all have put out this week. Both you and the fire department have put out videos again, and I think the public enjoys seeing those. They enjoy the updates. They enjoy seeing what's going on and knowing that they're kind of in touch with what's happening. So thank you all, and I hope you'll keep those things up. Those are very good for the community. Thank you very much. Okay, discussion items. Discussion payday lending ordinance. Ms. Ishihara.
Thank you, Mayor Mack. We've heard a lot about this already this evening, so I am going to back up a little bit and tell you how we got to having this as a discussion item on our agenda. Several months ago, I asked our city attorney, Jim Finley, and assistant city attorney, Terry Jackson, to look at some of the ordinances that other cities have put into place. There's 20 to 25 other cities in the state of Texas that have adopted similar ordinances to what we are reviewing tonight. Those have been accumulated by TML, which is the Texas Municipal League, and they put it out kind of as one structure so that cities aren't adopting things that are all over the map, that we're kind of consistent in what we're doing. And I don't see any sense in sugarcoating it. I asked them to look at it because I personally believe that the business model of payday lenders is predatory and harming the people in poverty in our community. That's my personal belief, and I personally know many people that have been negatively impacted and put into crisis by the loan that they received from a payday lender. And on top of that, in receiving collections communications from these payday lenders, none that have spoken tonight, they were harassed. and put into a further cycle of crisis and poverty. And if we stick our head in the sand and do not see how that type of situation turns into the crime situation that we have in Longview and the other crises that we are going through, we are just being blind to a situation that we continue to perpetuate. So I feel like this is something that we can look at and have the potential to help with. But my other hat would be that I look at this as an attorney and I read how these payday lenders have used a loophole. The Texas State Constitution provides for our legislature to put a cap on interest rates. And the way that the payday lenders are getting around this is their business is essentially a broker. And they go get a loan from a lender and they follow all the rules. State constitution, state legislation, they follow all the rules in getting that loan. There's an interest rate cap on the loan that they receive. And then they, as the broker, turn around and give it to an individual with a fee. They don't charge interest, they provide it to them as a fee. And that fee is generally $30 for every $100 borrowed. And that loan is due back, may not be true for our local ones, and I did do my research, but you're welcome to submit me whatever numbers you have. That loan is due back in the next couple of weeks. So when you break that out to annual interest, that's over 800% in annualized interest that are being charged on these loans. The problem that gets perpetuated is if I'm at a payday lender asking for $300 because I can't make it to my next paycheck, but that loan is due with $100 now tacked on for a fee, I owe them $400 on my payday that I probably don't have. And so I go back to that payday lender and I say, how can I pay this back in another installment? And they say, great, of the $300 that you originally borrowed, that there's a $100 fee on already, we'll add another $100 fee and you can pay it back in 2 weeks. You see quickly how this cycle turns into owing much more interest on your original borrowed amount. And that is something that should be regulated by the state. It is for lenders. You talk to any banker, and I mean meaningful regulations. I know that there are lots of regulations that you're submitted to as a business, but when I say regulations, I mean meaningful regulations that cap the amount that can be borrowed, cap the amount that can be charged in interest when you return that. We require that of all of our lenders, all of our bank institutions, all of our financial institutions. They have regulations for a reason. And the loophole that exists that is allowing these payday lenders to charge much more in interest is something that should be regulated. Should that be done at a state level? Absolutely. But like we heard earlier tonight, that's not coming soon, and I don't want to wait for that. I believe that's something that we can take action on tonight and that we have an obligation to do for the citizens of our community. So that's, sorry, I didn't mean to yell at anybody about that. But I do, in fact, feel very strongly about it. And Sean's got a couple of slides that we can put up to talk about the proposed regulations, which, as I said, are the same that have been adopted in about 20 to 25 other cities. So the changes we would be looking at would not be intended to put anybody out of business, but would require businesses who are not operating under a financial code where they have a cap for interest. To the gentleman that just spoke, that's not you. We're not talking about you. We're talking about those that are not regulated, that do not have a cap, those that are using that third-party system where they're brokering money. They would be required to register annually with the City of Longview. They would be required to determine the income of an individual coming into their business and not provide them a loan of more than 20% of their income, limited. And that's the 20% that he's referring to. 20% of your income, you'd be limited to take a loan out of 20% or less. When they do installment loans, it would be limited to 4 installments at a time, so that we're not getting into a situation where they're going on for forever. It would also limit the amount of times that you can re-up. So instead of coming back and being able to renew that loan and adding an additional fee indefinitely, it would be limited to 3 times that you could re-up. I am obviously not in the business, so I can't speak to whether that would put anybody out of business or not, but those seem very reasonable to me, have been adopted for many years in other cities where payday lenders continue to operate. So it seems like that would be something we could also have here. So I just wanted to provide some history. If I can answer the question, I will. I think Terry's here somewhere to answer questions as well about the ordinances.
Let me correct one thing first. This is discussion only tonight. There will be no action taken on this item tonight. This is discussion only. Let me just clarify that point of order, please. Okay, continue. Council, any other discussion?
I have a question of staff. needless to say, I totally agree with what Councilwoman Ishihara stated. It creates an ongoing cycle of indebtedness. And given the issues we're dealing with currently right now in our community and all the different entities that have come together to combat poverty, this is really going to play an integral role in how we proceed. I don't perceive this as big government. I perceive this as caring about our community. And not only that, if you do your homework and you look at some of the national organizations, regardless of ethnicity, creed, belief, they're all resonating pretty much the same thought. This is not a good look for any community because it continues to facilitate the cycle of poverty. My question in moving forward to staff, what are the necessary steps that we have to take in order to set boundaries? Because there are also some cities, and Councilwoman Ishihara and I have discussed this, and Councilwoman Snoddy as well, there are also some cities who have set boundaries. Where can you actually build these businesses? Because as someone who represents Southeast Longview, I'm concerned. And I'd like to hear from staff, someone from P&Z, Michael Shirley, are you in here? Or Angela, Choi. What are the requirements if we would like to add something of that magnitude into the ordinance? And what does that entail? And he chips in from the back.
Okay, I believe your question was about regulating it from a zoning standpoint.
Absolutely. And I'll give you an example. And I'm just one person, but let me be clear in saying this. I've had people in my district, people in my family who have called me wanting the city to help. And so this is the first step because we can't help in those personal situations. So if I were to ask, okay, hypothetically, don't write that down, Matthew. We don't want any more payday loan companies in District 3. What are the requirements for that?
From what I've seen, we could categorize them as a specific use in the zoning and dictate what zoning category they go in. Generally, it's in line with like a general retail, so that's not going to really limit other than, maybe the zoning category. I know many cities regulate how far the distance between the like
Is that
uses.
like 100 feet or something like
Yeah,
that?
100, 300,
Okay.
1,000. And that's something that's out there too. I believe with regulating them, the distance requirements, you open yourself up to more litigation than regulating the business model, it's my understanding.
Okay.
And I think that's one of the reasons that we're not considering that, because that opens up that door that we don't really want to open.
Fair enough.
But from a zoning standpoint, I think it would be harder to regulate because, I don't know that you can regulate them by specific use permit. I know we are prohibited from regulating pawn shops by specific use permit.
Right.
I'm not aware of a prohibition on these types of businesses, but I'm sure that it would probably not be allowed.
Okay. Now, there are over, 24,000 in the country, excluding internet payday lending companies. How many do we have in Longview? I'm just curious.
I want to say it was like 40 to 50.
We sent 40 to 50
that we
Wow.
found. I mean, we did the
In a
best we
town
could
our
researching them,
size.
but
But that's just a Google search, I think, is what
Yeah,
we did.
yeah.
So,
Okay.
yes, I don't know.
Fair enough.
You said 40 to 50 letters, but you said that to every finance company.
Yeah.
So you can't count it as 40 to 50 because you sent one to me.
Sure.
And so, in your zoning issue, I actually have an office that has a zoning issue, and it's fixing to be revoked because of the fact that we're lumped in with payday loan companies. And they've adopted a similar ordinance. And so I can be more than happy to tell you about that.
because of the distance
Yes. Well, they're lumping us in, but they're lumping us into the same type situation, but not everybody, and so it's caused a huge lawsuit.
Sure, and that's, the distance requirements are usually more litigious, I believe.
No, they're not. Okay. Okay, thank you, Michael.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. I'm done.
Within the definition of payday lenders or
cash advance businesses, are there some gray areas as to whether a particular business is going to fall within this category, or is it just black and white?
I don't know the answer, but I would be glad to review. I mean, my personal intention in regulating something new would be only to include businesses that are not currently being regulated under the finance code with an interest rate cap. So I'm sure there's a good way to delineate that in our ordinance.
Yeah, Terry, are you?
I think he had talked to some other cities that have run down the issue of what actually is a credit access business,
Okay.
And let him give you a brief explanation as to that, because there are certain things like the people that do not fall within that, so.
Yes, and of course, a bank, a credit union, a savings and loan institution, they're not going to be involved in that. A credit access business is what we're going to regulate, and those are ones that a company obtains essentially, or it's more or less the middleman, as Councilperson Ishihara was saying. They make these loans available, not charging an interest. There's no interest generally in these loans, but they charge a fee, and those are the ones we would tend to regulate. The one thing Mr. Flood and I talked about is that there is a gray area, Mr. Moore, some overlap, but what we envisioned is those that don't make direct loans to individuals. They don't utilize their own money and make direct loans as a bank would, as a credit union would, but those that facilitate a loan from someone else, those are the ones that we would regulate, because they, according to the Finance Code 341 of the Finance Code, they're the ones, and they do have to have a license. The thing is, there's very little regulation in that, at least in the state statute, but they do have to have a license, and then they're defined in there, and they assist a consumer or obtain for a consumer a loan that they charge a fee on. Those are the businesses that we'll be regulating. And Councilperson Williams, Ms. Williams, I guess that one of the reasons, as Michael Shirley was saying, and I don't mean to jump beyond what was asked, but one of the reasons, like Michael said, that we had to make a decision, and we looked at the 26 communities that, as of the fall of 2015, had enacted these type of ordinances. And when we looked at those, we saw that it seems like the ones that didn't have the regulations as to limiting as to the regulating as to location, that whenever they faced litigation, those that didn't have that seemed to be very successful in their litigation. The others still, the book is out. I can't say that they've been unsuccessful, because many of these are fairly new. These ordinances are fairly new, so there's still a lot of litigation going on. But, for instance, Denton, its ordinance has probably gone the furthest in the system, in the judicial system in litigation, and they've been successful. And I think one of the reasons is that I could not see the regulations of the locations in there as in some ordinances. So we made a conscious decision that we would, unless council directs us otherwise, that we would wait at this time to see how just regulating in this manner went. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair.
Any other discussion, Council?
No questions?
No, we're not fielding any questions. No, because no. No.
I do have a couple of questions. One, how do we enforce this? I mean, that's going to, that looks like that's going to be pretty difficult. And the other thing is, I think there's a lot of litigation going on opposing this kind of action. And how much, are we doing something where we're not going to be litigated against, and is it going to cost us a lot of money? Not that that's a good reason not to look at this, but that's got to be a consideration.
Sure, and I think I can answer both. We've discussed and considered both ahead of time. Your first question was, how are we going to enforce it, which is an excellent question. Because the police department does the annual licensing for some other business, BYOB maybe, some business, we were going to have them do the annual licensing and host some educational forums on how these regulations would come into play ahead of that, before they were enacted. And then, just to be perfectly honest, I suspect it would be much complaint-driven. We obviously don't have the funds to send city people out to audit businesses, but much like many of our other city ordinances, I think it would have to be complaint-driven. So when one of our nonprofit agencies had a client who had something that looked not to be in compliance with that, we could hopefully respond by having these in place. But I don't think there's any way for us to manpower and pay to audit those types of things. So that was question number one. Question number two was, what about the ongoing litigation? So there's 5. It looked like to me TML does a really nice job of putting together all of these things on their site. So it's my belief that there's about 5 litigation cases, and several of them have been litigated pretty close, to conclusion, and then the ones that have been on appeal have upheld the city's right to put these into place. And legally, if you're interested, the reason is the state constitution provides for the things, interest rates on banks, but they do not regulate in this field. So the city has the ability to put ordinances into place when they're not preempted by the state. So, and that's actually why some of these things seem a little funny, like why don't you just put, this is how much money you could loan out? Well, the state preempts us on that. So that's why some of these things are structured in the way they are, because the state does not have laws there, so the city can come in and put what we want there because it's not preempted. So I don't believe that we would be stepping outside the bounds of anything we're allowed to do legally, and I think all of the litigation that's gone on so far supports that.
Okay. And what keeps an individual from going from one payday loan house to another, and?
Or going online, nothing. I mean, yeah, we can't regulate it. I don't know how you'd ever do that.
Okay, and I'm not here to, excuse me, to be for or against this, because I don't know enough about it yet, because we haven't vetted this out properly in our terms yet. We have a lot of discussion to do. But I will say that the majority of the phone calls I received this week, before I even knew this was on the agenda, I was receiving phone calls about this week. And the biggest concern I've heard, which is a concern, and I'm not for or against this either, but if the city gets involved in regulating this industry, where does it stop regulating other industries? Because the city is not in the business of regulating industries. That is not our position. We want less government, not more government. So we just need to keep this in mind, council, as we move forward, where our boundaries are and what our responsibilities are to the community and what our responsibilities are as elected officials. So we just need to keep these in mind as we will proceed forward. We will, I'm sure, be receiving quite a bit of information over the next few weeks on this, and we will continue this in another meeting.
Mr. Mayor,
please.
One other thing I've noticed today and yesterday. Yesterday we talked about putting sprinkler systems in vets' offices and that kind of thing, and then this item tonight. And in neither case, in both cases, it seemed to me it was kind of one-sided. It was whoever put the ordinance together, and in the case of the sprinkled vet clinics, they hadn't gone out to the vets and asked for their input. And in this case, I think there's some good people out there running some of these payday places. It might be good for us to sit down with them and work on something that everybody could agree on.
Yes. And I'm sure that's where the process will go from here. This is, and you know, Kristen, I appreciate you bringing this forward, because if it's not brought, like all things, if we don't address them, then we can't decide on them. And there's no decision being made tonight. Once again, this is discussion only, and this has been good, healthy discussion. Quite long, but good and healthy. And I appreciate all those that have been involved, and I look forward to additional discussion as we proceed forward on this item. So thank you all very much.
Can I have one question?
Yes, sir.
Just short. Kristen, some of the numbers up there, where do you get the, where does the 20% come from?
That's actually just the same that all the other 20 to 25 cities have done, and TML's tried to coordinate that effort so that cities aren't enacting different things, because some of the litigation comes from them having to address it piecemeal. So if I'm a statewide corporation and I operate in 25 different cities where there's different ordinance each time, TML's tried to coordinate the cities so that we're all doing the same thing.
Right.
So that's where we came up with the 20% and all those different things, because that's what the other cities have done. That's what's been upheld litigation-wise, and in an effort to kind of maintain consistency, that's where those come from.
Why do you limit the number of installments that they can use to pay it off?
Because that perpetuates how much you're paying each time.
Well, but if they, I don't know, if they borrow $400, it'd be $100 plus the fee in 4 months, where if they had 6 months, they wouldn't have to pay back as much each month. Is that, I mean, is there some reason that some magic number to 4 installments?
No, again, that was just part of the model.
But you see what I'm saying? If
Yes,
you
I
have a
understand what you're
longer, you know, if they initially set up a 6-month period instead of a 4-month period, their monthly payments would not be as high as it would be otherwise. They might be more capable of making a 6-month payment than they would a 4-month payment. I don't know. I don't know why we had a limit on 4 months. I mean, I can see the benefit personally of making it a little longer, because if you make it short and they can't pay it, well, they're certainly going to have to come in and get more money just to try to make their payments, which anyway, I have a little problem with that. And the internet lending, is this something that's, I mean, is this done on the internet?
Yes.
Seemed like that would be nearly impossible to monitor.
Yeah, we wouldn't, yeah.
It's not our job.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, thank you, council. Thank you for the discussion. Okay, we're at the consent agenda. Are there any items consent agenda would like to be pulled off for separate discussion? Okay, before we make a motion on that, I have a comment on the consent agenda. Whoa, 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 I have a comment on the consent agenda. Where y'all going?
You see how important that topic is, right? Thank you.
Okay, we'll give you a moment. What I'm going to say is really important. Y'all should stick around. Okay, on this consent agenda and on all of these items that where we're awarding contracts for work to be done, and I'm not sure how it's done. And Mr. Willard, I'm sorry that I didn't give you this on a heads up, but I just didn't, and I'm sorry. But you all will, I'm sure, have a great answer for me. Whenever we're awarding construction projects here in this city, okay, one thing I do know, when we award a contract, no one's taking a beating on that. They do very well. They don't give us discounts. We don't get anything cheaply, because I've seen how things get built and how much they cost. When it costs $5 million to build a fire station, we're not getting a break, and that's what I'm saying. So when we're awarding these contracts to these contractors, do we have anything in place for liquidated damages when it comes to a time frame? Because if we don't, I don't want to award another contract to the city of Longview until we discuss this. Because, for exactly what's happened on Magnolia Lane, this is a disaster that has taken place on Magnolia Lane. It has taken so long to get this road completed, and I understand, and I know how construction works, because I've done it before. Contractors get a bid, they get an award of the contract, and they start work. And then they get 5 other bids, and they start work on 5 other contracts. And they just get them done as they can. Well, I want to be priority. I want City of Longview to be priority, because we're not getting a break on the prices. So I want us to be very proactive in putting contingencies in place so that when we award a contract, there's a time frame involved. And if time frames aren't met, because we have and you allow for weather days, so many weather days in every project. If we're not doing that, I want us to consider doing these things so that we become a priority, because I think our citizens deserve that. I think the community expects that, and I think as a council, we should demand that. So if we're not, from this point forward, I would like for us to make that a policy where we have timeframes and we have abilities to collect liquidated damages when a project does not come in on time, because I don't want to be put on the back burner. I think we should be top of the list. So I think we're paying top dollar.
Yes, sir. We do have, and Mr. Finley is better qualified than I am to answer that.
Yes, we provide those provisions. And
liquidate in all of our contracts.
Provide those provisions in the contract for liquidated damages, and there's certain
ramifications involved. They have to take into account weather days with unseasonably weather, like we've had a lot of rain lately.
Sure, I understand that.
And liquidated damages are a tool. There is split on courts as to how rigid they can be enforced. So there is some latitude that we provide. I do believe sometimes with the public works people, they do try to get some concessions for when there are overlays as to maybe prices have come down or they do come under budget.
Okay.
We're conscious of that. We will, and those things are in there and they're spelled out.
I want us to be very, very conscious of that because I just feel like we owe that. When we disrupt a road in front of a business and it takes an extraordinary amount of time to complete that and that costs the business time and money, it's very unfortunate and I know progress must proceed. We have to do these kind of things, I understand. But I want us as a city, and I know you guys do, I just wouldn't have felt good if I didn't say it. I want us to be as conscious as we can of our tax-paying citizens to make sure we're on top of that and that we're making sure that we do it in the quickest possible manner to allow normalcy again, okay? So I appreciate that, and I'm not complaining, I needed to be, us to all of you, we're on the same page, okay?
Thank you very much. Thank you for mentioning Magnolia Lane being in my district. It's been a disaster, the way it's been handled and the progress that they've made on it. It just seems like they pick and choose when they want to work there, when they have a nice sunny day. And we all know that what amazing me, several years back when they built the Sam's and the Walmart out there, it was raining, and they still got those structures built and completed in a very fast time, even considering the weather. So there are ways to work weather.
But I've seen BJ's go from a parking lot to a full-service restaurant, and we can't get one lane of a road done. And I just don't get that. And I'm not a construction person. I understand. I'm not complaining. I'm just saying I want to be conscious and of the citizens that we are conscious of what's going on because I just don't think it's right. So, okay. May I have a motion, please?
So move.
And a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. Ms. Choi, we're to zoning. So good to see you.
Good to see you too, Mayor Mack, members of council, and Mr. Willard.
We're going to have a public hearing on S15-02.
Okay, the applicant is requesting a specific use permit to allow for arcade games in heavy commercial C2 zoning district located here at 111 H.G. Mosley. A specific use permit is required for an arcade within heavy commercial zoning district to ensure no negative impacts to surrounding properties. H.G. Mosley is a minor arterial, which is appropriate for this type use. Staff finds that this type of use is compatible with the surrounding zoning. Planning and Zoning Commission and staff recommend approval of this request. I would be happy to answer any questions.
And this does require a public hearing, which is now open. Is this, Mr. Priestner, is this where you wanted to speak?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mayor and Council. Mark Priestner, Planning Concepts, 3815 Old Bullard Road, Tyler. As Angela said, this is a reuse of the old skateplex. It's a Chuck E. Cheese for grown-ups without the food part. Because of the way the ordinance is written, it needs an SUP because of the arcade component, but it's not an arcade like the old arcade in the mall that you would think of. It's a collection of different uses and games and things like that, and more of just an overall entertainment venue. So, be happy to answer any questions that you have.
Thank you very much, sir. Any questions?
What's the current status of your project? Because it seems to be taking quite a while.
Yes. Well, a lot of the uses have changed. It started as we were going to just do an indoor soccer field and sports complex, and that has just continually evolved. But every time we've changed uses, we've also got to come in and get an SUP, and there's been a lot of holdups from that standpoint. But we're ready to get it done and get open because it's killing us to not have it open right now.
Well, I'm all over it. I'm waiting on the go-karts.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So we're in a hurry, too.
We thank you and
you.
Mr. Morgan for your patience. Okay. Public hearing is now closed. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, now we're to public hearing on Z15-20.
Thank you, Mayor Mack. The applicant is requesting to rezone from SF2, seen here in the light blue, to general retail to allow for medical offices located here at 2301 Judson Road. Judson Road is a principal arterial roadway, which is appropriate for office and retail type uses. Planning and zoning and staff recommend approval of this request. I would be happy to answer any questions.
This does require a public hearing, which is now open. Are there any speakers? Any discussion? Yes, sir.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and members of the council. My name is Samer Shalaby. I'm with Development Consulting Services, and I'm assisting Fredonia Real Estate Group basically to develop the property. As Ms. Angela said, this property currently is zoning residential, and we want to convert it into general retail to build medical offices. Again, that does have water and sewer to the property. It's located on Judson Road. I'll be glad to answer any particular questions you have about the site itself.
Any more questions? We're looking forward to it, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
Great. Well, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Motion, public hearing is now closed. May I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you so much. Ms. Choi, we're going to do the next four together, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we're going to do, yes, all four of these together, and we will vote on them separately.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
We need public hearings on each one, too.
Yes, public
Yes, sir.
hearing on each one.
Yes, sir. The applicant is requesting to abandon the remainder of Clay Street, seen here, Kathy Street, along here, going north and south, and two alleyways. As you've probably seen, this is Mr. Zorn's development that you saw the plan development site plan in December, where he incorporates all these alleyways as well as the both streets into his development. At a previous council meeting, Clay Street was abandoned here at our airline for Raising Cane's, as it was abandoned here for the Golden Corral. All public utility companies have reviewed and have signed off on the proposed abandonment. Easements will be secured for public infrastructure located within this development. Staff recommends approval of this request. I would be happy to answer any questions at this time.
Public hearing is now open. Any discussion? Okay, public hearing is now closed. May I have a motion on the Clay Street abandonment?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Public hearing is now open on Kathy Street. Any discussion? Public hearing is now closed. May I have a motion on the Kathy Street?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Public hearing is now open on the next one. Skyline, Block 2, Skyway Acres A subdivision. Public hearing is now open. Any discussion? Public hearing is now closed. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And it passes. Public hearing is now open on the last one, Lot 3 through 7 and lots 8 through 12, lots 8 through 12, Block 1. Public hearing is now open. Any discussion? Public hearing is now closed. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. You okay with this, Chief Finley? Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
I got you.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Choi, for your very expeditious walk through that. Okay, we are now to action items. Consider an ordinance ordering the general election on May the 7th, 2016 for council members for districts 5 and 6 and contract with the Gregg County Election Administration. Ms. Ballinger.
Good evening, Mayor Mack,
Good evening.
Council, Mr. Willard. We're requesting an ordinance to call for the general election May 7th, 2016 for the districts 5 and 6. Filing for these will begin January 20th at 8 a.m. and end February 19th, 2016 at 5 p.m. You have any questions?
Ms. Ballinger, it seems like we just did this a year ago. Could we avoid the District 5?
You're special.
That's wonderful. Ms. Ballinger, just a comment. And once again, I know we discussed this last time with very little discussion, but I'm still going to try my best to push as much as we can to try to get voting available in any polling place for any citizen of Longview. And I hope we'll continue to push this agenda forward because I think we will increase our participation in voting elections, and it'll make it easier and less confusing for the public to go and know where to vote. So I'm laying that with you, and I thank you for this. So may I have a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you all so much. Now we're to items of community interest. Mr. Moore.
I'd like to take the opportunity to congratulate our own Kristen Ishihara for being honored as a star over Longview for 2016, a well-deserved honor. Second, I know we're all going to be excited that next month we will probably have some mobile food unit ordinances in front of us to discuss and vote on. So that concludes my prepared remarks.
Thank you for the warning, sir. Ms. Snoddy.
I would like to take the opportunity to invite everyone to my town hall meeting, which will be March 3rd at 6 p.m. at the Stamper Park Resource Center. Ms. Blankenship, my heart goes out. I mean, I felt what you were feeling when those babies were speaking. Guys, I would just like to say and to emphasize with the city of Longview, for those of you who pray and believe in the power of prayer, keep praying. If you don't pray, it is time to definitely start. I just personally, that is what I am doing. I commend Chief and everyone on what they're doing as far as the crime, and it's going to take all of us collectively together to work this out. To all the mentors that were here, I know there's some that are still here, thank you guys so much for taking the time out. I know the population of students that you're working with every day because I deal with them on a daily basis. I know it's not an easy job, but so hats off to you guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Snoddy. Ms. Williams.
Yes, Saturday, February the 6th, Top Ladies of Distinction Incorporated will host our 34th annual Hearts of Love soiree with funds for our scholarship funds being donated to our youth auxiliary group, Top Teens of America, which leads me into another point. You know, we get the calls all the time about our community and the crisis that we're in. And kind of like I was joking earlier, I'll say, yeah, what she said. But that's what the kids say. What Councilwoman Snoddy said is what I'm referring to, for those who didn't get it. But there are so many things available in our great city. And it's so interesting to me how we can take to all the social media all day, every day, and I realize it's here to stay. But while we're taking to the social media, and we're steadily talking about what we can do to build those bridges in our community, we had a room full of mentors tonight. I worked under contract for Partners in Prevention when I first moved back and graduated from college and came back to Longview, reluctantly, until I went into sales, but glad to be home. We have those programs in place. We have Thrive 360, where we saw the children one by one stand up tonight and address us. These are the times we live in right now. We have the Boys and Girls Club of East Texas, of Longview, off of High Street. We have all of these different things in place. And so my charge to everyone, if we are truly going to live up to the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King, and if we truly care, and if we are who the people we say that we are, encourage someone you know who has a child that needs to be participating in one of those programs. We miss it so often in our community when we try to recreate the wheel. We have what we need in Longview. So let's embrace those things. And that's how we are able to come together and be the cohesive unit and build upon our great city. So thank you and happy MLK to everyone.
Thank you. Ms. Ishihara.
Nothing. I've talked enough for this evening.
Mr. Wright.
As Ms. Snoddy said, I have a town hall meeting also on February 2nd. I'd like to invite everybody to that. And then on a positive note tonight, I have a friend here that I haven't seen here at a council meeting before, Mr. Dennis Rand. Dennis is a member of the Longview Ambucks, and I would like to commend him and the Ambucks for all of the weekends they put in building ramps for our citizens that can't get out of their houses because they can't get down the stairs to get out of their houses. So Dennis, I'd like to commend you. I know you spend a lot of weekends doing that. I know your fiance isn't always real pleased that you're doing it, so you spend a lot of time with that. And then I'd also like to recognize the Longview Gregson Rotary Club. I don't know how many of you were able to go to the Behold the Lamb of God concert at the Belcher Center, but we raised about $37 million for both Newgate Mission and Highway 80. So I'd like to commend the Longview Gregson Rotary Club.
37 million?
Did I say million?
Yeah.
Oh. Well, that's even better, but actually it was 1,000.
Behold the Lamb of God.
Yeah. Let's go. It was billion, wasn't it, last night? Let's go with billion.
Mr. Allen.
I'm doing fine tonight.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
Good to see you, sir.
Thank you.
Mr. Willard.
No, thank you.
Okay. We have the Martin Luther King Jr. Citywide Celebration, which starts Friday, January the 15th. There'll be activities throughout the weekend and holiday. For a full schedule, go to longviewtexas.gov or call 903-445-3729. The city offices will be closed Monday in observance of MLK Day, and there will be normal trash and recycling collection on Monday. A couple of the things. As well, congratulations, Kristen, on your Stars Over Longview. If you weren't there today, I'm telling you, it's very inspirational. There was a speaker by the name of Liz Murray that had an amazing testimony, and it's going to apply to every single one of us, no matter where you came from or where you're going. If you haven't heard her, you should look her up. She has a book out. I don't even know the name of the book, Breaking Night. It's an amazing story, which was very, very inspirational, and I was very pleased to be there to listen to that. And congratulations once again, way to represent. Secondly, Mr. Prosser, I understand tonight's your last meeting with us, sir.
It is.
Well, it is our loss and someone else's gain. We've enjoyed having you as our reporter. You've been very fair to us and very attentive, and we appreciate your service, and we wish you all the best wherever you're going to be. We know you'll land on your feet. We know you do a good job. Thank you very much, sir.
I would also like to say that part of my job is kind of to hold you guys accountable and sometimes even rake you over the coals. And I just want to say that during my time as covering the City Hall, not only the council, city staff, city administration, you guys have been incredible to work with. Anytime I need something, you're just falling over yourselves to get it for me. If I call, you call back. You've just been wonderful to work for, and it's just been a pleasure. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Matthew. Okay, survey time. How many of you answered my survey this week? You didn't?
I didn't see it.
We 0 for 6 up here. 0 for 7. David?
I got my book.
I do have the
0 for 7. Okay. This is a really good survey. You're gonna wish you'd answered this one. Okay. When I want to report something going on in Longview to the city, i.e. a street light that is out, a pothole that needs to be filled, an idea that I might have on improving Longview, and here are your choices. Ignore it. Nobody really cares anyway. Send a report via the City Send app. Reach out to my council representative. Reach out to the mayor. Talk about it with my friends, but nothing beyond that. Those are your choices.
City Send.
City Send app, 33%, very good. But what's amazing to me is how many people didn't know the City Send app existed. So what that tells me is that we, collectively, city staff, elected officials, we're not making that available enough, because it's a wonderful tool to allow people to get information in and out quickly. And so I want to see us promote that and utilize it, be educational to the community, because most people did not know that even existed. And I'll tell you what, the answer, reach out to the mayor. It's a lot more than 7%, sisters and brothers, because I get all the calls. I don't know where that 7% came from. Okay, but very good. Oh, it's 11% now, even better. Great. So let's promote this City Send app, because really and truly, if you haven't been on it, it's very easy. It's very simple to navigate, and it gets you a response very quickly. So that'll be something we want to promote, and I appreciate Terry and the guys for making this graphic so that we can really get this out there to the community. Okay, number 2. If you were to win the Powerball lottery, which none of y'all did, what would you do with the money? Okay, the first, this was terrible. Buy Longview, I'm moving to the beach. Give away a portion of it to nonprofit organizations and enjoy the rest. I don't play the lottery. Give it all away or quit my job the very next day.
No.
You would think.
I'd pay for my dental surgery.
Give a portion away to nonprofits and enjoy the rest. So that shows we're a compassionate, giving community. And that was 61%. So good job. Kudos to y'all. Thanks for taking the survey. Once again, we garnish information from these surveys, whether you believe it or not. We really take we get a lot of information, a lot of feedback, and a great number of people respond. So I thank you, those that take the time, and those of you that didn't take the time. We'll talk about that later.
How many people are moving to the beach?
Quite a few. No, actually not very many. Okay, book club. I would show you my book, but it's in the back. My wife is reading it as we've spoken through this whole council meeting. But the new book is called The Energy Bus by John Gordon. And I hope you all, I know Mr. Allen has read it because he sent me a picture of it. And I'll be showing you all that picture at some later date. But this is a really neat book. I hope you all will go get the book. I hope you'll read it because we're going to start in February discussing this every Monday night, 7 to 8 o'clock online, Mayor Max Book Club. I expect as good or better response than we have from the first book, The Go-Giver, and all the great things that came from The Go-Giver. I'm excited about that, and I'm excited about what this book will allow us to discuss and how it will change the way you feel about the people around you and how you expend your energy. It's very, 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 very inspirational. So look forward to it. Hope you all will go buy the book, buy it locally. Barron's, Books A Million, Hastings, they have the books. Go pick them up. And if you need one, they'll order them for you. So please buy them locally. You got some time before February. Look forward to having that discussion. Okay, last. Mayor Max Scholarship Fund. Okay, it's a crazy name, but I don't know what else to call it. Here's the thing. This is a wonderful position that I have to serve you all in the city of Longview. It's an elected position, and I don't take that lightly. Believe it or not, it's also a paid position, and I get $416.67 a month for doing this, and I appreciate every penny of it, but I don't need it and I don't want it. So I'm turning that money that you all allow me in a salary to do this job into a scholarship fund. There's going to be a $5,000 scholarship fund. That's what it adds up to. And I'm going to split it 4 ways between the 4 high schools in Longview. Longview High School, Spring Hill High School, Pine Tree High School, and Hallsville High School, because we do have Hallsville residents who live in Longview. So I'm going to do a scholarship for each one of those schools once a year, $1,250 per scholarship. I'll run it through their departments. We'll take applications, we'll review the applications, and we will select winners from each high school. And I look forward to this because I feel like this is a way that I can give a little bit back, and I look forward to doing that. And I think it's something that these kids need. And so I'm looking forward to it. One requirement to start, you have to live in the city of Longview, okay? That's my only requirement. So there'll be some kids that live outside the city, and I understand that, but the recipients will be citizens of Longview, residents of Longview, and we will do that scholarship fund, and we will start applications soon. I'll get with the counselors, and then we will announce that scholarship probably in the May meeting or something. So I look forward to that, and I look forward to all of the good things ahead for Longview. So thank you all for your time. It's been a long meeting, great discussion. Good to see you all again. Happy New Year, everyone, and this meeting is now adjourned.